It's the June bank holiday weekend and this corner of Dublin's Phoenix Park has been transformed into a garden wonderland. Already it's packed with visitors from all over the country. It can mean only one thing, it's bloom time again. You're very welcome here to Bloom, Ireland's largest gardening, food and family festival. Last year, over 100,000 people visited the park over the 5 days of Bloom. And this year, once again, it's bigger and better than ever before. So over the next half hour, we're going to give you just a flavour of what's going on. Coming up on the show, food, fashion and, of course, lots and lots of flowers. It's the show gardens here at Bloom that are the real star attraction of the event. They've been created by some of Ireland's most successful designers, and it's all been put together in just the last 3 weeks. Well, we're going over now to a real gardening aficionado, Anya Lawler, who's going to show us some of her favourites.
A show garden is a work of art, a fantasy and sometimes a heartbreak. You have to be brave and passionate to make a show garden for Bloom. Deirdre Pender knows this well. It's the 4th time she's made a garden here. And this year, with the blessing of our native gods, her garden, Idzagahil, is aiming for gold.
I was reading an article online about the Celtic nature spirits, how in the other world they live on these floating circular islands. I just wanted it very soft as well to complement the hard landscaping.
Tell me about your Celtic mist.
Well, basically we have certain points throughout the garden where water is being diffused into a visual mist, because I wanted to create that sense of the veil that connects this world to the Celtic otherworld.
One of the things that's really noticeable in this lovely, subtle white and yellow and green garden is texture and reflections and shadows. That's something people often forget, don't they, putting gardens together, but it matters to judges.
Like, I let my plants breathe, they're not close together. I just want that very relaxed, airy feeling. For me, designing show gardens, it's something I'm very passionate about, and it's the Celtic connection I really connect with, and I think it's brilliant. I'm really, really happy. It's my best one yet.
This is Andrew Christopher's first garden for Bloom, and he's made a soothing oasis from plants and water, rust and stone. But this is not just a beautiful showpiece. This is a garden with a special message for our times.
Because this is the Samaritans Garden, what we're trying to do is replicate the effect of when you open up about your problems. When you share your problems with somebody else, you automatically calm down and you relax. The wall panels that you see on the walls there of the rusted steel, they're designed to represent a busy mind in search of guidance. The garden is here to try and center you right back, bring you to the present. So we have a number of methods of doing that. First of all, simply the gravel, which you have here. As soon as you walk on it, you hear a crunch. That centers you down. Below our feet here, we've got lemon thyme. So you step on that, you get a little bit of scent. The same as our water features. I mean, there's no running water in the garden, they're just still and they're calm. You know the old trick, if you want to, liven up your garden, you put in a lot of reds and oranges and things like that. But in a simple garden like this, it would just get the heart rate pumping a bit too much. We want to slow it all down. The thing I'm most happy about is we tried our best. If I had gone home last night and thought, why didn't we have a few more minutes to do this, or why didn't we do that? Yeah, that would haunt me for the rest of my life.
Now, Anya will be back with more from the show gardens in just a little while, but there's an awful lot more to Bloom than gardening. And if you're into fashion, the weekend style stage here is well worth a visit. Barbara Power is fashion editor at the Irish Independent, and this weekend she's also Bloom's resident fashionista. So Barbara, what's actually happening here this weekend?
It's the first time that we've had it at Bloom, and we're having 3 fashion shows a day for 5 days. So that's 12, 2 and 4 o'clock every day, with fabulous fashion, over 40 pieces, as I well know, I brought them all along. And there's a floral theme going through. And of course it makes absolute sense because florals in fashion have been so prominent for the last few seasons.
Now listen, in the lead up to Bloom, you've actually been involved in a pet project of your own.
Yes, I have. I've been working on dressing a certain lady here at Bloom who would normally be in wellies, but we put together a look for her, and we're going to have a very special fashion show ourselves later today.
Super. Well, listen, Barbara, best of luck with it all, and thank you. It's just 9 days before the show opens its doors to the public, and today, Bloom's fashion guru, Barbara Power, is paying a visit. She's here to meet landscape architect Ailish Drake, who's hard at work getting her own show garden ready for opening day.
Hi, Ailish.
Hi, Barbara.
I'm Barbara. Lovely to meet you. Wow, this is fabulous. Tell me about the garden. What was the inspiration?
The garden is inspired by Limerick's medieval heritage, King John's Castle, and it's sponsored by Limerick City of Culture. So what we have here is we have our herb garden, and we've got all our herb beds. And then when we move into this part of the garden, we have the jewelled lawns, we have the fountain in the middle, and we've got a tunnel arbour, and we've got these ornamental borders at each side.
So tell me, what is your fashion style like?
Well, I suppose I like simple clothes. Well, I wear probably a lot of black, things with some detail in them. And then obviously when I'm out in the garden, it's really anything goes. Old fleece, old jeans, that sort of thing.
Right. So, I mean, I'm an awful woman for the black myself, but you have to get into colour. We have to get you into colour for Bloom. What I'd like to do is bring you to town now to go shopping. I mean, you look fairly well advanced here. Have you time to come in for a while?
Well, I guess I have time to take a break for a few hours.
Are you open to sort of pushing the boundaries a little, you know, getting out of black, trying different shapes?
Yeah, it'd be great to have someone like yourself to kind of pick out things that might suit me that I probably wouldn't pick for myself.
So, slip off the high vis, we'll head to town and we'll go shopping.
Well, we'll see how Barbara and Ailish get on with the makeover in just a little while. But first, as Anya was saying earlier, these Bloom show gardens, they're not just about wowing the crowds, they're also in very serious competition with each other. Gary Graham is a judge on RTE's Super Garden series, but he's also Bloom show manager and coordinator of the Show Gardens competition. How intense is competition this year?
It's been a really good year for gardens, for designers. We've got some of the country's top people here, and they bring everything to Bloom, of course, and they're not going to let themselves down, so the competition is really tough.
I mean, this is not just about showing beautiful gardens to the public. It's a very firm competition here.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Obviously, it's show business. We want everything to look fantastic for the visitors, but it is a competition. It is all about the medals. If you're one of the country's top designers, you're not going to let yourself down. You need to get a good medal.
The things that the public might be most attracted to, they're not necessarily the award winners.
No, and we see that every year, where the people's favourite could be something very, very different from what the judges have spotted.
Who decides who gets which medal and why?
Yeah, that's where we bring in the experts, the professional judges. It's very different from someone who's just a garden lover. Look, it can be very subjective, but what they do is they have very strict criteria, and they break it down, and they look at everything from construction to plant associations, all the detailing. But really, it's about doing what they said on the tin, if you like. It's about meeting the design brief.
Last Wednesday, the day before Bloom opened to the public, each show garden was carefully scrutinised and discussed by the judges.
I mean, to get box cushions looking like that is well accomplished.
Basically, we're looking for excellence. We're looking for horticultural excellence. We're looking for design excellence.
We discussed this and actually said, is this a sustainable detail?
Although the gardens are full of really great ideas for people to take home, I think at the end of the day they're show gardens, and so there has to be a kind of feeling of wow and maybe fun or some kind of message that you're getting from the garden. Here we are on judging day, everything's kind of finished, standards are good. Some interesting design ideas, I think.
Imagine a seaside in New England, a retreat by the beach with the waves lapping against the shore. Well, that's what Joan Mallon has made in her Cape Cod Escape Garden. And you know what? It's full of ideas for Irish coastal gardens too.
Coastal planting is not difficult and need not be boring or limited. That there is a huge range of plants suitable for most gardens.
And Joan, I love that pine behind you, and of course pines are the perfect tree for the seaside.
They're tough plants and they can tolerate a lot of wind exposure. And here they form the backdrop of the shelter belt, which we've tried to create, which allows us to put in the other herbaceous perennial planting.
And of course, there are fashions in plants, and one plant you're using really well over there beside that blue agapanthus is the yellow daylily, the hemerocallis, and they're just great, aren't they? They flower their socks off.
You see big pockets of those all over the gardens of Cape Cod, of New England, so they had to be here.
And the technical challenge of the wave affecting the movement and the noise.
That was a huge part of the whole design and the concept. I wanted moving water in it. I don't think you can have a seaside garden without some ripple of water.
But of course, preparing this garden, the weather in the run-up, it hasn't been easy, has it?
No, it certainly hasn't. It's been horrendous. In fact, it's almost been biblical on some of the days. But it dries up. That's the beauty of Bloom, is that we soldier on and we get the garden created and we make it look like it's always been here.
Well, Joan, I don't know about you. I could stay here all afternoon.
I wish you would. We could drink some tea.
A parked car, graffiti and concrete. It's not your usual backdrop to a show garden. But look how Kevin Dennis has taken the hard elements of a cityscape and transformed them into a cool and funky eco-garden.
The main theme is urban greening, which is bringing plants into cities. We have our green roofs and our green wall here.
What's the advantage of a green roof?
It could take like up to 2 inches of water on that roof. So if every building had a green roof, that would be an awful lot of water that we'd be saving.
The other idea that I really love is this wall. They play a really useful role in cities.
And once again, rainwater can be harvested for these walls, you know.
And I know your electric car, of course, is a big feature. A lot of people will notice that going by. If you're going to pave over a garden, even if you're going to park a car, it doesn't all have to be concrete.
We do need some concrete, we do need patios for our lifestyle. But, yeah, we have gravel for parking the car and the water will drain through that.
And you've gone for quite a dramatic use of colour here. It's quite funky and cool.
I wanted to kind of tie in the graffiti to the planting. So I needed these black grasses and purple structural plants, you know, that would jump up and say something, you know. When you go to fill your kettle, you look out at the garden, you know, and what you see is a framed view. So when that is landscaped and has design elements and plants going through it, it's always a nice day when you look outside.
Now, we're going to be revealing those medal-winning show gardens just a little later on. Now, though, I'm in one of my favourite parts of Bloom, the Food Village. There are over 120 artisan producers here this year. They've come from all over the country with products ranging from cheese to chocolate to beer. And now we're going to sample just a few of the things on offer. I'm at the Mad Food Company stall, talking to Brendan.
We identified an Irish product which would give us shelf life and Irish unique identity. So we went for your old-fashioned Irish white pudding and we started innovating from there.
And it is amazing what you're doing. I mean, I know these are your newer ranges, but chorizo, sweet chilli, I mean, they've all kinds of flavours going now. It's great. Well, listen, congratulations, Brendan. Thanks very much indeed. Thank you. I'm speaking to Mick from Kel Markey Seafood.
Yeah, this is a range that was set up a couple of years ago, and we've been adding to it all the time. Our favourite one, our prime one, is our seafood sausage.
Certainly, I mean, they look the part, don't they?
Yeah, they're very tasty, yeah. Salmon and haddock, natural herbs and spices and nothing else. Everything there is produced in Wexford.
Well, I'm here at the Mandala Ice Cream stand from the Burren in County Clare. And Roger, you started out as a dairy farmer.
Still am a dairy farmer.
And 8 years ago you decided ice cream was the way to go. Why?
Because we live in a peninsula with water three sides of us. The land wasn't there for us to expand.
What would you say now is your most kind of interesting flavour?
Wild
What would
berry
you recommend?
is made from blackberries. It's our most popular one. It's our signature one. Now taste that.
Thank you. Well, I'm in the Bloom Inn now at one of the craft brewery stalls, and I'm joined by Tom. First off, what is the definition of craft beer?
For me, it's an independent-owned brewery using choice ingredients and making handcrafted beers. Generally, there's an exceptional taste profile of the beers.
Can I try one of yours?
Of course you can. So I'm going to give you a Granny Mary's Red Ale.
Granny Mary's what?
Red Ale. This has caramelised tones and it's quite aromatic because of the hops we put into it. What do you think?
I like it, actually. We're going to take a quick break now, but lots more from Bloom still to come.